Hey guys, this is T-Mac with Ultimate Night Vision, and we're gonna do a quick review on the world's first commercially available 10 micron thermal weapon sight / clip-on. This is the IRAY Hybrid Compact. And in this review, we're gonna go over the refresh rate on this thermal device. It says 60 Hertz, and to be honest with you, I think it's higher than 60 Hertz. We're gonna do a latency test. It's not gonna be too scientific, but I'm gonna take another 12 micron thermal device with the same base mag as this one, which is gonna be a 60 Hertz, and we're just gonna pit them together and see what the latency is between either or. We'll do that in this review. We're also gonna talk about the battery runtime on this thermal device, which runs on one single 18650. We'll talk about the mount system that comes on the IRAY Hybrid, which is the D-lock mount. Is it any good? We'll talk about it here in a little bit. And then we'll talk about the image quality. We'll talk about the controls, and here and there through the review, I'm gonna sprinkle in some footage of us using this thermal device. We're first gonna do the latency test to get this out of the way for you guys, and that's coming up now. So yeah, the frame rate on the Hybrid Compact, it's unreal, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it is the fastest thermal scope I've ever used, and it's the fastest thermal scope on the market, just bar none. When you pan very hard left to right, and if you're shooting running pigs, there's almost no lag whatsoever. And there was a time when I was using this device early on, and I've been running this now for close to 5 months, but at first I was just like, man, I'm missing a few pigs here and there on the run. And reviewing the footage, I'm actually seeing the impact right in front of the running pigs. So there is a little bit of a learning curve when you first run this device, but man, I'm telling you, it is fast, lightning fast. And if you compare it with your own thermal scope, the difference is very, very noticeable. So that's the refresh rate on the Hybrid Compact. And now we're going to talk about the battery life. And it says 7+ hours of runtime. And I did my test with the 18650 that came with this device. I charged it up, I put the brightness, contrast, everything down low. I put everything pretty much how I would use every thermal scope in a hunting application. Not too bright, not too dark. So I threw this in the freezer at 4 degrees, and it ran for 6 hours and 20 minutes. So if there's 2 words I'm gonna use to try and describe the Hybrid Compact, it's going to be efficient and speed. Those are the 2 words I would use to describe this thermal scope. The one thing that will kill this battery life down is if you run this with the Wi-Fi on continuously. That's what I've noticed in some of my testing with this, running the Wi-Fi on. But let's go with the D-lock mount system. If you've ever ran an IR Defense, a Trigicon Reap IR 35mm, same mount system. This is the D-lock mount system, and I'm blown away by this mount. I love my other mount systems that are QD, but if you're going from rifle to rifle, and I've experienced this numerous times, if you go from rifle to rifle, you have the chance of always having a rail that's a touch out of spec. You gotta tighten, you gotta loosen the nut to go on one rifle or the other rifle. And with this, it's spring operated. That's the spring tensioner knob. And it just goes on. You can do it with one hand. And I marked it right there. And it's snug already without you even having to tighten the knob. And it's just finger tight. There are no tools, no wrench. It's just finger tight. So Yeah, it's been off the rifle 50 to 60 different times in like the last 2 weeks doing tests like this. I'm going hunting later on tonight. I'm not even gonna check if it's zeroed. I know it is. I've been running this for 5 months. I have yet to throw this out of whack and to where I've not had to, double check my zero. It's on. So, man, very, very impressed with this mount. I will say this, getting behind this thermal scope, the eyepiece is very impressive as well. You can stand back 6+ feet and still see the display, a good chunk of it. And I'll do a video here in a second illustrating that. But it's a very, very good eyepiece. All right, now let's talk about the controls in the hybrid compact. So everything's, high and tight right here. So you've got your power button right here. You've got your video / camera icon button to snap pictures or record. And then right here, you've got your ranging button. On the other side, you've got magnification, and then you've got your menu button. So when you're using this for your first few times, they're not lined up in a dead straight line. So when you're trying to navigate this, when it's pitch black for the first few times when you get this thermal scope, it can be challenging if it's that dark outside and you're not used to it, because you got 2 on this side, 2 on that side. The selector switch. So I like how they did this. It's not an actual button to select whether you want dedicated, do you want clip-on. It's an actual tactile switch that you can feel. And that's pretty beneficial when it's dark outside. So the bottom one that's selected here is weapon sight. 1 click up, then you get to the ballistic solver. So this is a 7.62 by 39. I really don't use the ballistic data, the ballistic solver. I don't need it telling me where the reticle needs to be at like 200 yards. The majority of my shots are gonna be 100 yards and in. I don't need this, but if you're wanting to shoot long range, if you're gonna go out there and use this for coyote hunting, then I definitely can see where this is gonna be beneficial. And one click up from there is gonna be your clip-on mode. So you're gonna have to zero this to your day optic. It's just part of it. And if you want to run a 1 to 6, a 1 to 10, even higher, you can do so. I do recommend though, because the spec sheet does say 10x is about the max you can use. It's gonna get real pixelated at 10x, but man, just run like a 1 to 10 and you can utilize pretty much the whole range of that day optic in conjunction while using this as a clip-on. So let's talk about the image quality on the hybrid compact. Now, since this is a 10 micron thermal weapon sight, I haven't seen any benefit of a 10 micron versus 12 micron as far as the image quality goes. I just haven't seen it. It's a very, very good image. It's on par with every other top tier 640 thermal scope that I run. It's just something that has not blown my socks off, being the first 10 micron. The thing that you will notice first out of everything is going to be the speed of this thermal scope as far as the frame rate goes. That stood out. I couldn't believe it comparing it to my other 640 thermal scopes that are 60 hertz. That stands out. The image quality, it just didn't stand out to where I saw a huge benefit. And that's just, whether you want to call that a con or not, just don't go rush out and buy this thermal scope thinking it's going to have the best 640 image of all time. It's going to be on par with the other top tier thermal weapon sights in the 640 range. So my name's T-Mac again with Ultimate Night Vision. This will be a first of many reviews that we're going to do with thermal optics and night vision devices, and we'll try and get these cranked out once every week or 2 weeks. If there's anything I can do for you guys down the road, just give us a call anytime. Appreciate it. Thank you.